Chat, chat. I know I'm like an hour late, but I just fucking woke up like 15 minutes ago. You cannot blame me for this shit. I mean, technically you can. I should have slept earlier, but still. Anyway, today's React Handy, so let's just find something to watch. This will probably only be like a short stream, because 8:40 now, and I plan to stream until like 9:30, not 10:30. Yeah, let's watch some yokai explained.
Season. A winter yokai for the
Anyway, today we're gonna be watching Yuki-on Explained.
A winter yokai for the winter season. This is a Yuki Onna, or Snow Woman. They go by many names depending on where you are in Japan, but the basic idea is the same, a woman in the snow. She's a super popular yokai. Most stories about her came from these snowy parts of Japan. Let's go over what she does, then talk about some of her folk tales.
I mean, it's kind of a given that myths about a snow creature would come from snowy parts of the region. But moving on.
They're beautiful and tall, with long black hair. They have skin as white as snow and as cold as ice. If you run into one, she'd be sporting a thin white kimono. Sometimes it's thin enough to be translucent. Sometimes she's even nude, with only her eyes and hair standing out from the snow. From far away, she floats around like a snowflake in the breeze, but a lot bigger and human-shaped. She leaves no footprints. Sometimes she has no feet at all. It's hard to resist standing there and watching her, but then she gets close and you realize that you made a mistake because she has a superpower. While your brain is rebooting after being smacked by her beauty, she can breathe her cold breath upon you and drain your life force, leaving you a frozen corpse with an icicle in your pants. She likes to attack people in snowstorms.
Was the ice kill in my pants really necessary? Was it really necessary, chat? Anyway, on a completely unrelated note, how long do you think it would take for her breath to kill you?
And is even known to break into homes at night to freeze an entire family. Not all stories of Yuki Onna are of the evil kind. Sometimes they fall in love and marry humans, and sometimes they're helpful. Different regions have different beliefs about this yokai. Sometimes she's good, sometimes she's evil. Behold the good beliefs. Some say she appears when winter changes to spring to say goodbye to the winter season. If you happen to see her and treat her with kindness, she would turn into gold the next morning. In some regions, she appears on January 15th, a day called the Little New Year. It marks the end of New Year celebrations. Some say this idea started in ancient times when folks worshipped the Yuki Onna as a god who could bring forth good luck to the new year. Others say she was a servant of the mountain god who brought fertility and good harvests. One strange version of the Yuki Onna has her traveling on the wind on days.
Wait, I'm confused. How does Ice Woman equal fertility? Can someone please explain that?
With light snowfall. She walks around asking people to give her water, hot or cold. If you give her cold water, she bulges up like a sexy blowfish. If you give her hot water, she melts and disappears. She's not always harmless, she can be deadly. Consider the baby trap. A Yuki Onna would stand in the snow holding a baby. She'd ask anyone passing by to hug the child. Now you may think, well, babies are cute. I can hug a baby. You stupid idiot. Once you hug the baby, it becomes heavier and heavier until you sink into the snow and freeze to death. But if you can resist the heavy baby, you would gain great strength. Another yokai, the Ubume, also likes this trick. Some stories say that even if you refuse to hug her baby, she would just push you down a cliff. However, once a clever man survived his encounter with a baby wielding snow woman. He hugged the baby but held a knife between his teeth, pointing it at the baby's head. If she tried anything, he'd kill her baby. She didn't try anything. Neither did the baby.
Well, fuck, that's morbid. Like, I'm sorry, because I'm assuming there is no way to tell that this isn't just a normal woman and a normal baby. It's like, I'm sorry, do you just go around pointing your knife at random babies? What?
After some adorable hugs, the man returned it. The Yuki Onna thanked him and gave him treasures. Another fun belief is that if a Yuki Onna calls you and you ignore her, she would shove you down the mountain. But then there's an opposite belief where if you do talk to a Yuki Onna, she would eat you. Some say she appears only on full moon nights when there is newly fallen snow. Parents warn children not to play outside on such nights because she likes to steal the livers of children. The first ever known story of the Yuki Onna comes from a monk in the Muromachi period. He wrote that when he walked into his garden one snowy day, he saw a beautiful 10-foot tall woman with skin whiter than anyone he had ever seen. Her white kimono clung to her body. It was almost translucent, and he could almost see her skin underneath. But when the monk spoke to her, she disappeared. Yeah, that's it. That's the first ever story. It's very short, but you know what? Size isn't as important as coming first. Another story goes there was a man with a beautiful wife who had very white skin. The man loved to take long hot baths, but his wife never took baths, and he didn't understand why. One chilly night, he kept urging her to take a hot bath unless she wanted to freeze from the cold. His wife kept refusing, but he kept at it. Finally, she relented.
Okay, I'm assuming she's gonna like melt because she's a Yuki Onna. That's my guess, chat. I have not pre-watched this.
And went into the bathroom. After a few minutes, the man couldn't hear anything coming from the bathroom. No sounds of bleh 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 or bleh 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 or even ah. So he came in to check on her. His wife was gone. In the steaming water were only
I fucking called it, chat. So like, surely an ice woman would not have the warmth of a human, right? Like, surely when you touch her, you would have felt that she like is not human. She would be way too cold. Is it just me, or does that seem like the most logical thing?
blocks of ice slowly melting. Another story goes the moon had a princess who had a tough life because she got everything she wanted. It was way too boring. What she found exciting was looking at the people on Earth below, going about their lives. One night she was looking down and whoops, she fell onto the Earth in a snowy area. She was stuck on Earth with no way of talking to the moon people above. On snowy full moon nights, you may see her looking at the moon, wishing she could go home. Of all the Yuki Onna stories out there, there is one story to rule them all. When it was written in 1904 by Lafcadio Hearn as a love story with a twist, it took off and pretty much became the standard for all Yuki Onna stories. From then on, Yuki Onna stories became stories of sorrow and romance. Hearn said he heard the story from some local man and wrote it down, but he probably added his own changes to make for a better story. He was known to do that to all the Japanese folk tales that he retold. Folk tales in that local area were simple. Hearn's version was a more detailed story with love and a twist. I did a video about Hearn's Yuki Onna story. Check it out here. We have some new members on Patreon this week. Alicia Chan, Pilot Maddie.
Well, I'm happy that the ice woman has romance now. Uh, Honestly, I want to find out with the next one. All about kids. Was pervy really necessary? Are all kitsunes pervy? Is that just like the be all end all?
Among life's greatest joys are wearing warm pajamas.
Alright, chat. Today we're gonna be watching all about Kitsune powers.
Among life's greatest joys are wearing warm pajamas that just came out of the dryer, and waking up thinking you need to go to work but then realizing it's a Sunday. But nothing can match the ecstasy of a furry every time he sees a kitsune. Today's topic is the kitsune, or the fox. Specifically, their powers of shapeshifting, possession, and illusions. So kitsune means fox in Japanese. I've seen some people say that it means nine-tailed fox, but those people were sniffing glue. It just means fox. Some foxes are good, others are tricksters and outright evil. In Japanese folklore, there's no difference between normal foxes and supernatural foxes. All foxes become more powerful the longer they live. So the next time you see a fox in the wild, you won't know if it's a harmless creature or one with supernatural powers until it sleeps with you. Kitsune are
Until it words with me? Hello? Thankfully I caught that. What do you mean? What do you mean sleeps with me? I do not want to bang a fox. Thank you very much.
super lewd. Let's talk about how pervy they are, because that's the kind of channel this is. They love to shapeshift into human form and seduce a man. It's common for a husband to find out that his wife was a fox only after years of marriage. Corrupting Buddhist priests is a favorite hobby of theirs. They have a fetish for the divine. One of the most common types of fox stories is where a fox changes into human form, seduces a traveler, invites him home for a delicious meal on the table and in bed, then disappears the next morning. The man would wake up in the middle of nowhere and realize that he wasn't eating premium sushi and Kobe beef the night before. His food was an appetizing mix of rotting leaves, moss, trash, and poop.
Ew. What the fuck? I mean, I guess pop off, do your thing, but like, are you just trolling to troll? Are you just doing that part for the love of the game?
Still, you may think that having to eat a bit of poop before spending the night with a kitsune doesn't sound that bad, until you find out that if a kitsune wanted to, it could suck up all of your life energy, leaving only enough for you to live a few more days. And then you would realize that it still doesn't sound that bad. Women aren't safe from these fluffy Japanese succubi either. Like your ex, foxes will sleep with anyone. Stories of foxes lying with women are usually quite assaulty. When a fox sleeps with a man, he always has a good time in the foxhole. When a fox sleeps with a woman, she'd often be in pain and be yelling for help. Foxes are rough in bed, I guess. The woman is usually really sore afterwards in the areas of her body that experienced the most friction. A common remedy was to boil buckwheat in water and apply the liquid to her privates. Some say a fox will tell the victim how to treat the pain afterwards, maybe to make amends for what it did. What a gentleman. Shapeshifting is the power that kitsune are most famous for. Like the tanuki, kitsune can shapeshift into people or objects. Unlike the tanuki, kitsune don't have big ball sacks. A common ritual.
Again, is all the lewdness really necessary when we're talking about fucking animals? I know I'm not. I know I said I'm not supposed to cuss, but once again, we're talking about foxes, and I'm pretty sure tanukis are also animals and not just mythical creatures. Is all this really necessary?
The fox uses to shapeshift is putting a skull on its head and biting on a bone. It may also cover itself with leaves and face the North Star and bow over 100 times, keeping the skull on its head. After this adorable ritual, the fox would change to a human. Younger, less powerful foxes can only stay in human form for a short time, but older, stronger foxes can stick with their disguise for years. Now, a fox in human form can cause all kinds of trouble. Let me tell you what to look for to prevent yourself from getting seduced by a fox. Half of you degenerates just skipped to the next section, didn't you? Let's say you're at lunch, sitting down in McDonald's, about to swallow a quarter pounder with cheese when this hot girl walks up. So hot she could boil water and make enough steam to turn a generator and become a source of renewable energy if she wanted to. She sits down next to you, calls herself Eva, and immediately starts hitting on you. Now, how do you know if she's a real woman or a fox? Well, this would never happen to you, so you instantly know she's not real. But let's
Ouch.
pretend anyways.
I mean, he's not wrong though. Carry
The
on.
easiest thing to do is to stare at her butt, which you're already doing, so off to a good start. Keep
Huh?
staring intently because sometimes a fox will mess up and its tail will pop out from beneath its clothing. Sometimes you may also see some fur peek out from the collar or sleeves. Check out Eva's jawline because often the imposter's face may be more triangular, like a fox. You can look at her reflection on your cup of water. Water always reflects a fox's true form. Listen closely to her words. It's hard for foxes to say certain words, like moshi. They say this is why people in Japan answer phone calls by saying moshi moshi. The practice started because people wanted to make sure the person on the other end wasn't a fox. This is a very popular explanation for the origin of moshi moshi, so I can safely say that it's 100% BS. Another thing you can do is grab a nearby dog and have it sniff Eva. Foxes are terrified of dogs. Dogs can sniff them out. A dog's bark may be enough to scare the fox out of its human skin. One awesome story told of a woman who realized that her lover was a fox when she saw that his manhood looked like a fox's manhood. Good for her, but now I'm concerned about why she was so familiar with fox dicks. What I'm saying is check Eva's manhood. Another power that Kisune have is possession. They can invade your body and possess you like a ghost. In ancient times, fox possession was seen as a real disease. A fox can enter your body through the underside of your fingernails or through your breasts. You know, I was having a good day until I discovered that fact, and then I had a great day. So you can guard against possession by wearing gloves or not having breasts. This is why Asian women don't have breasts.
I just caught I just caught that last comment, but like, I mean, I guess I'm safe then, chat. I don't think I need gloves because I don't have OPI.
For protection. A person possessed by a not so powerful fox will act really crazy. They will run around and yell weird things like, "Let me eat tofu." Tofu is one of the fox's favorite foods. But if a really powerful fox possesses someone, it wouldn't be as obvious. The victim would sometimes seem normal and sometimes seem weird, like they would have weird habits. These include eating only food that foxes like, staying away from people, only hanging out with dumber people, not allowing anything to touch their armpits, which doesn't seem that strange, and hiding hair in strange places around the house. They really do all manners of strange things. Supposedly, the victim can hear the fox inside them and can get into fierce internal arguments. Were these cases of fox possession in the old days mostly just cases of mentally ill people? Most likely. Once a fox has taken over someone, how do you exorcise it? There were a lot of supposed treatments that were about as effective as wearing a mask under your nose to protect yourself from a shotgun blast. One treatment was to smear fish paste all over the victim's body and have a dog lick it off.
Yeah, I'm not doing that shit. I'll just stay possessed. I don't care.
Because foxes are scared of dogs, obviously. People put smelly things like sulfur under the victim's nose to drive the fox away in disgust. Sometimes people burned and beat the victim. Kisune are masters of illusion. David Blaine is a Kisune. Combined with shapeshifting, they can pull off some really convincing tricks. There are stories of people being under the fox's illusion for years. Fox trickery can be really random. They're like teenagers who suddenly gain superpowers and are just going around doing psycho shit. Some of their tricks are just funny, like making people walk the same 20 steps back and forth, or shaving someone's head. Sometimes you can see a fox move.
Okay, so if they're not evil, then they're just massive trolls. I can respect. I can respect that.
Moving its tail around, controlling people from afar using its tail. But some of their tricks are totally not cool, like trapping some poor schmuck in an illusion for years, duping people into entering the woods and getting lost forever, or making people go insane. Foxes are known to make these fireballs called kisunebi, or foxfire. Sometimes when it's dark or when you're in the forest, you may see orbs of light in the distance. These are foxfire lights. Some say foxes can breathe flames or fireballs. Others say they hold animal bones in their mouths and make them glow. They can use the lights to lure people into dangerous places. Sometimes at night, if you're lucky, you may see a long chain of foxfire lights, often miles long, marching in the darkness. This is a fox wedding. They say in the daytime when it's raining but the sun is out, it means a fox wedding parade is happening nearby, where a fox couple just got married and they're celebrating. At nighttime, you can see their orbs of light as they walk, but if you get close, the lights disappear. There have been reports of people finding trails of fox poop and saying that it's evidence of a fox wedding. It's also evidence that foxes are rude little buggers who poops on the floor in the middle of a wedding. So, how do you know if you're currently trapped in a fox illusion? You could try pinching yourself. If you don't feel pain, you're probably in an illusion. You could also, if you have a fried rat handy, throw the fried rat on
Who just has fried rats? What?
the ground. Foxes love fried rat and will drop its illusion to jump on that mouth-watering hunk of crispy rat meat. You know, I thought there were a lot more ways to tell if you're in a fox illusion, but when I went online to Bing it, I couldn't find anything else. Alright, today's quiz question is this. What is the name of the Heian female adult entertainer who were also puppeteers? Answer in the comments, and tomorrow I'll choose a
I
winner
have no
from
idea.
among the correct answers. Winner gets one of these. Once
Anyway, chat. This has been a really short stream, but I think it's time for me to bid my due. So, bye bye, I guess. Like a half hour stream, not that bad. I'll see you all next time. Gonna find someone for us to trade out to. Alright, today we're gonna be reading out to Cryptid Mason. Here is the raid message. Hello, the channel is not offline. Are you high? Should I guess we just missed it. I'm gonna see if I can find someone else. I wanna read out to people with similar views to try and help the people that are small babies like me. Alright, we're gonna be raiding out to Coco Miu.